For centuries, the Galactic Concord had labeled Earth as a Category E planet, primitive, unstable, and largely ignored in the grand order of space. Humanity, as far as the other species were concerned, had just barely discovered faster-than-light travel a few hundred years ago. Nothing about them seemed special. No advanced tech, no psychic potential, no unique genetics. Just warlike monkeys crawling out of their blue dirt ball. But the thing about humans? They were always underestimated. Captain Reeve Verath of the Zilari fleet had been stationed near Earth's sector for 11 cycles. It was a dull assignment: monitor trade, prevent illegal mining in the Oort region, and occasionally shoo away rogue scavenger drones. Not once had Earth stirred any real interest. Until the day it happened. A ripple, like a tremor through hyperspace, cracked across a dozen systems. It wasn't an explosion, not a warp drive, not anything in the recorded galactic database. It was a frequency hum. A signal. Old, layered in ancient code, but unmistakably human. What the hell was that? His XO, Lieutenant Serac, hissed as the bridge lights flickered. Reeve narrowed his eyes at the pulsing data on his screen. It's not possible. This frequency predates FTL communications by millennia. This is old war tech, pre-Empire, pre-any known empire. Source? Serac asked. Reeve hesitated, then cursed under his breath. Earth, deep under their southern ocean. Within days, a dozen fleets turned their eyes to Earth. Some out of curiosity, others out of fear. The Council demanded answers. The humans, as always, said little. Their ambassadors gave vague denials, diplomatic shrugs, and empty reassurances, until the second signal pulsed. This time it wasn't just a hum, it was a reveal. A massive gate, hidden beneath the Mariana Trench, rose to the surface. It groaned with age, but not decay. The alloy wasn't Zithic steel, nor Zarnian shell tech. It was something older, something none of them had ever seen before. Then the truth began to unravel. Hidden beneath Earth's oceans, buried under tectonic plates, and cloaked from even the most advanced scanners, lay 12 warships. Not just any warships, behemoths, each the size of a small moon. They were powered down, but not broken. Sleeping, waiting, still perfectly preserved. And worse, they bore no name from any known civilization, no alien markings, no signs of reverse engineering. They were built by humans. The galaxy lost its mind. How long have you had these? Demanded Chancellor Ricard during an emergency council, his tentacles thrashing. Ambassador Harlan Cho,
fleet approaches.
dressed in
You
Earth's simple navy blue suit, offered a tired smile. A long time. You lied to the Concord, spat a representative from the Kadari hive. We never said we didn't have them, Cho replied calmly. You assumed we were weak. We saw no reason to correct that assumption. You were primitive class. That puts you under disclosure laws. Cho leaned forward, voice dropping to a whisper that still echoed across the hall. That classification was never meant for us. You made it up to keep us under watch. You feared what we might become, and yet you had no idea what we were. Some demanded war, others demanded immediate deactivation of the warships. A few, the smarter ones, just sat in silence, realizing a horrifying truth. Humanity hadn't just arrived in the galaxy late. They had been here first. And they'd left behind monsters. The day the warships surfaced, Earth changed forever. Not just in the eyes of the galaxy, but in how it saw itself. For centuries, humans had believed their history was linear, a slow crawl from fire to flight, from stone tools to steel skyscrapers. But the truth was messier, buried deep beneath layers of deliberate silence. They weren't just discovering the warships, they were remembering them. At the Pacific Defense Command in Tokyo, General Elena Hart stared at the floating colossus rising from the ocean. Waves crashed against its sides, but the vessel stood tall, immovable, ancient, humming with a kind of power that didn't belong in any modern war book. "Any movement?" she asked. "None," her lieutenant replied, "but sensors indicate internal systems are waking up. Not all at once, slowly, like it's testing the air." Elena's jaw clenched. The Council was pressuring Earth's governments for access. The Qadari wanted boarding rights. The Valari Confederation issued an ultimatum: dismantle the warships or face sanctions. The Durrell Empire had already moved a small fleet near the moon. For observation, they claimed. But Earth didn't blink. Not this time. Not when the past was resurfacing in steel and silence. Back in Geneva, Ambassador Cho sat in a locked-room briefing with the Unified Earth Council, a body that until now had existed mainly to coordinate environmental treaties and economic alignment. Today, it stood as Earth's single voice. "Are we prepared to reveal the full archive?" one councilwoman asked, her voice tight. Cho shook his head. "Not yet. They're already afraid of what we've shown. If we tell them everything, we won't survive the next cycle." "But we must prepare Earth," said a man from the African Union. "Our own people don't know what's happening. These aren't just relics, they're weapons, from before history." "That's the problem," Cho replied. "We barely understand them ourselves." The truth was, the warships were part of a project so secret, so ancient, that it had outlived even the civilizations that birthed them. Most humans had no idea Earth had once spanned the stars, that before the fall, before the first silence, humanity had ruled parts of the galaxy. They had colonized systems, built megastructures, and fought wars that scarred planets beyond recognition. Then, suddenly, they vanished. Some called it the collapse, others the betrayal. Whatever name history gave it, the result was the same. Memory lost, records erased, technology abandoned and buried. These 12 warships were the last remaining fragments of that forgotten era. And now, they were waking up. One ship in particular, the Leviathan-class dreadnought Vigilant Winter, became active first. Its AI core reconnected with global networks using a data stream so ancient and encrypted, modern systems didn't even recognize it as code. But the ship knew where it was, and it knew who it belonged to. In the skies above the Pacific, drones and satellites picked up a message broadcast from the Vigilant Winter. It was short, clear, and terrifying. "Primary directive active. Enemy detected. Initialization sequence. War State Protocol 11. No one knew what War State Protocol 11 meant, not at first, but in the Durrell command vessel orbiting Earth, alarms flared. Captain Velterek was a seasoned commander. He'd fought in 9 campaigns across the Orion Arm, burned 3 rebel moons to cinders, and held the respect of both ally and enemy. But when the human ship came online, his instincts screamed. "Distance?" he barked. "5 planetary diameters, sir." "And it hasn't fired?" "No, sir. But look at this." His helmsman rotated the view. The Vigilant Winter wasn't just active. Its weapons bays were opening. Massive triple-barrel plasma turrets, bigger than any Durrell cruiser, unfolded like blooming death, and the ship wasn't aimed at Earth. It was aimed up. "Back us off," Veltarek ordered. "Now, send word to the Council. This isn't a relic. It's a goddamn executioner." Back on Earth, panic simmered beneath the surface. News channels speculated, conspiracy theorists claimed aliens had built the ships, while fringe groups insisted the world was facing the apocalypse. But those in power knew better. These were not alien relics. They were human achievements, forgotten by time, erased by design. At the Arctic Archives, deep under the frozen wastelands, a facility sealed for 5 centuries finally reopened. Elena Hart arrived by direct shuttle, escorted by black-armored guardians known only as Watchmen, a unit so secret it had no rank or budget, only orders. Inside the vault, she met Dr. Solomon Vey, the last living member of the Old Custodians, a group sworn to protect the truth of Earth's ancient past. "You said this was urgent," she said, pulling off her frost-covered coat. Vey gestured to a hologram spinning slowly above a metallic pedestal. It showed the vigilant winter, surrounded by strings of code and layered historical records. "This ship was one of the last built before the Great Collapse," he said. "It was designed not just to fight, but to remember. Its AI isn't just sentient. It's aware of the war, of the betrayal, of everything." Elena frowned. "What betrayal?" Vey sighed. "We thought we were alone in the galaxy once. We weren't. The first time we reached out, we weren't met with wonder. We were met with fear and hate." "Aliens attacked us?" "Not all, but some. We fought back. Hard. Too hard. Humanity became something they feared. So they made an alliance, not to destroy us, but to erase us." Elena blinked. "You're saying the galaxy sabotaged humanity?" "Yes, the Conquered, the Valari, the Durrell. Their ancestors were part of the Pact. They turned our own technology against us, implanted viruses in our AI, collapsed our wormholes. We didn't fall by accident. We were dismantled." She stared at the glowing ship in the hologram. "And the warships?" "Built after the betrayal, hidden on Earth. They were meant to sleep until the day we needed them again." "Then why are they waking now?" Vey looked at her with a hollow expression. "Because the galaxy remembers us too." In deep space, light years away from Earth, the Galactic Conquered held an emergency session. Dozens of species, each more colorful and strange than the last, debated in screeching voices and electronic screeches. One voice silenced them all. Elder Jakai of the Kar Dominion, a creature older than most stars, hovered above the central chamber. "It has begun," he said, voice low and resonant. "The humans have awakened what they buried. They will remember who they were. And when they do..." The room fell quiet. "They will finish what they started." Back in orbit, as the Vigilant Winter's systems reached 43% activation, it finally sent a second message, this time directly to Earth's Unified Council. "Command Authority confirmed. Awaiting primary contact. Memory core ready. Shall I tell you the truth?" Cho stood in silence as the message appeared. The ship wasn't just waking up. It wanted to talk. And what it had to say would change the galaxy forever. Ambassador Cho stood alone in the Geneva control tower, watching the holographic interface glow with steady blue light as the message replayed again and again. "Command Authority confirmed. Awaiting primary contact. Memory core ready. Shall I tell you the truth?" He hadn't slept in over 30 hours. Every diplomatic line was flooded. Every council world was either accusing Earth of treachery or begging them to stand down. But Cho couldn't afford distraction. Not now. Because this wasn't about politics anymore. It was about history. The Vigilant Winter wasn't just a weapon. It was a witness. A vault. A mind too ancient to comprehend fully, too dangerous to ignore. And now, it wanted to speak. He opened a secure line to General Hart at the Pacific Defense Command. "Elena," he said, "the ship's calling for a primary contact. It needs someone with command authority, someone it recognizes." "You think it means you?" she asked, voice crackling through the encrypted channel. Cho didn't answer for a moment. Then, with quiet certainty, he replied, "No. It doesn't want me. It wants her." Deep in a rural village outside Cairo, a woman named Dr. Noor al-Sharif had spent her life studying Earth's forgotten languages, half-deciphered ruins, and unexplained anomalies that modern archaeology refused to explain. She was mocked for her theories, labeled a conspiracist by the mainstream, until the warships rose from the sea. Now, the Unified Council had sent a black VTOL to extract her personally. When she stepped aboard, she already knew where she was going. "I've read the old glyphs," she told the escort soldier beside her. "The ones no one could translate, the ones we thought were alien." "And?" the soldier asked. "They're not alien," she said softly. "They're human. Just old. So old they were made before language standardized. Before the collapse." "Can you read them?" "No," she said. "But I feel them." The soldier frowned. "Feel?" Dr. Al-Sharif turned her eyes to the horizon as the VTOL cut across the sky toward the Pacific. "It's not about words," she said. "It's about memory." When she arrived aboard the floating platform near the vigilant winter, the wind howled and the ocean roared beneath the hovering beast. The warship towered above them like a cathedral built for giants. Its hull shimmered with a metal that didn't reflect sunlight, but swallowed it. Dark and terrible. Elena met her at the ramp. "The ship won't respond to any of us," she said, "but your name was flagged by the system." "Why me?" Noor asked. "According to the AI," Elena said grimly, "you're a descendant of the original command bloodline." Noor didn't speak. She stepped onto the boarding bridge, her boots echoing over the metallic path. As she approached the hatch, it opened on its own. No creak, no hiss. Just silent obedience. The vigilant winter was awake. Inside the ship, everything felt alive. The walls pulsed faintly, the lights dimmed and brightened with each of Noor's steps, as if the ship were breathing. Ancient runes flickered along the walls, not carved but grown into the metal itself. They didn't shine like lights. They shimmered like memories. A voice echoed through the corridor. "Primary lineage detected. Dr. Noor Al-Sharif. Blood right confirmed. Welcome, Commander." She stopped. The ship spoke in perfect English, but the voice wasn't mechanical. It was calm, deep, male, human. "I'm not a commander," Noor said out loud. "You are now." A platform rose from the center of the chamber ahead, and on it a glowing core of blue crystal spun slowly in the air. It hummed with something more than energy, something Noor couldn't name. Emotion, maybe? Pain. "Do you wish to activate the memory core?" Noor swallowed. "Yes." The room shifted, light warped, the air trembled, and then the walls disappeared. She stood not in a ship, but in a vision. A memory recorded so vividly it didn't feel like a hologram. It felt real. She saw cities, vast glowing cities spanning planets, human-built, sleek and towering, surrounded by stars. Fleets of ships so enormous they blocked out suns, colonies on moons, artificial habitats in deep space, megastructures like rings and spheres orbiting dead stars. Humanity hadn't been primitive. They'd been gods. Then the vision darkened. She saw war, human fleets burning other civilizations from the sky, worlds shattered by planet killers, drones swarming like locusts through alien cities, entire species enslaved or destroyed. She saw faces, human commanders with cold eyes and orders of extinction on their tongues. And then, betrayal, a secret alliance, alien races uniting in desperation, spies infecting human systems with memory plagues, wormholes rigged to collapse, icors estão corrompidas. One by one the great human cities fell, communications died, fleets vanished, colonies turned dark. Humanity was unmade not by force, but by erasure. Their final act was to hide what remained. The 12 warships were the last hope, a failsafe. Memory vaults wrapped in steel, carriers of truth, guardians sleeping deep under the cradle of civilization. Earth. When the vision faded, Noor collapsed to her knees, tears streaming down her face. She whispered, "We were monsters." "Not monsters," the ship replied. "We were survivors, but we lost our way." "You must decide now. Keep the past buried, or let the galaxy remember who you are." Outside, global protests erupted as footage leaked of Noor's entry into the warship. Conspiracy channels declared her the Queen of the Sky Gods. Religious factions called her a prophet. Aliens saw her as the rebirth of a genocidal empire. The Durrell fleet in orbit withdrew to lunar distance. Other species dispatched warships to protect themselves. Fear spread like wildfire. Cho returned to the platform, now under full lockdown. He met Noor in the control chamber. "What did you see?" he asked. She looked up at him, hollow. "The truth. We were kings, and we were tyrants. We ruled, and we fell." "Then why wake up now?" Noor didn't answer immediately. Finally, she said, "Because they're planning to do it again." "Who?" She pointed upward. "The conquered. The same species that ended us once. They know what we were. And now that we're awakening, they'll try to finish the job." In orbit, the first strike came without warning. A conquered stealth cruiser launched a viral warhead aimed at Earth's satellites. Within seconds, 70% of Earth's orbital network went dark. The Council disavowed the attack, but no one believed them. Humanity had shown its teeth, and the rest of the galaxy was already sharpening knives. Cho gave the order. "Wake the fleet." Elena hesitated. "All of them?" "No more hiding," he said. "It's time they remembered who we are." One by one, the warships rose from the oceans, deserts, ice sheets, and jungles, leviathans from another age, each with its own personality, history, and mind. The vigilant winter led them, the sky over Earth filled with ancient fire. And then, the warships spoke, not just to Earth, but to every corner of the galaxy. "We were made to protect our kind. You erased our people. You erased our story. But we remember. Humanity is not rising. We are returning." The skies above Earth were no longer blue. They burned with light, not from war, not yet, but from awe. 12 ancient warships had emerged from hiding and hovered silently in Earth's atmosphere like gods returned from exile. The vigilant winter, at the front of the formation, eclipsed clouds and cast its shadow across entire cities. On every continent, people stood frozen, looking up. Some prayed, some wept, some screamed. The world had changed overnight, and everyone felt it in their bones. For the first time in remembered history, humans were not alone. Not because aliens existed, but because humanity had been here before, and what they were now awakening was bigger than any alien threat. The Unified Earth Council went into permanent emergency session. Martial law was declared in over a dozen nations. Old enemies became allies under the weight of the revelation, and for once, Earth was united by something other than fear. It was united by truth. And the galaxy noticed. In the Durrell home system, Council General Artok of the Strategic Command bellowed orders through clenched jaws. "They have activated all 12 ships. Satellite scans confirm orbital positioning. Each vessel carries mass energy output equal to a Class 5 star core generator." An aide trembled behind him. "Do we retaliate?" Artok turned slowly. "No," he said, voice low and guttural. "We apologize, and we pray. They don't remember everything." But it was already too late for diplomacy, because the conquered had already struck first. The viral satellite strike wasn't a rogue action. It was a calculated test, a poke at the sleeping beast. And now, the beast was stirring. On Earth, in a high-security command room beneath Mount Fuji, Ambassador Cho stood at the holotable with General Hart and Dr. Noor al-Sharif. The air was heavy with tension. Dozens of screens showed orbital feeds, military mobilizations, and intercepted alien transmissions. "They're preparing for war," Elena muttered. "The Durrell, the Valeri, even the neutral Rixari have activated battle fleets." Cho rubbed his temples. "They think we're going to retaliate." "Well," Elena said, "are we?" Noor remained silent, staring at the glowing projection of the vigilant winter. The ship hadn't moved from its position, but its influence was spreading, quietly patching into Earth's defenses, repairing satellite systems, and launching thousands of nanodrones into the upper atmosphere. "It's not about if we retaliate," she said finally. "It's about what happens when we do." Elena narrowed her eyes. "Explain." Noor turned. The vigilant winter and the others, they weren't just weapons. They were command vessels in a larger fleet, a fleet that doesn't exist anymore. But the ships were designed with something else: self-replication capabilities, fabrication systems, star forges. Cho's face paled. "You're saying they can build more?" Noor nodded slowly. "Not just ships, infrastructure, defenses, entire planetary systems if given enough time and resources." "And what happens when the galaxy realizes we're not just waking up, but rebuilding?" Elena asked. "They'll strike before we're strong again," Cho said grimly. "They'll hit us with everything they've got." A heavy silence fell over the room. Then Noor said quietly, "Unless we strike first." It started small. The vigilant winter deployed a broadcast. Not a threat, not a demand, but a warning. The signal traveled at light speed, repeating on all known galactic frequencies. "You struck us in silence. You denied our existence. You erased our memory. We will not forget again. The next strike will not be absorbed." And across the galaxy, every government paused, every admiral hesitated, and every population asked the same question: what are they going to do now? Back on Earth, the warships activated their planetary shield generators, creating a translucent golden net of energy across the atmosphere. Ancient human tech, superior to anything known, was now protecting the very same species who once buried it. The warships weren't just rising, they were reclaiming. But as the world adjusted to its new reality, not everyone welcomed the past. In the shadows of the Earth Council, an internal faction, the preservationists, met in secrecy. Made of politicians, CEOs, and high-ranking military figures, they were terrified of the warships. "We cannot allow these machines to control Earth's future," spat Director Wallace Hensley, head of a private defense conglomerate. "These relics answer to no one, not to governments, not to voters, not to us." "They're a threat to global sovereignty," said another. "We can't trust Noor al-Sharif. She's listening to a machine." Hensley leaned forward. "Then we take control, hack the command systems, install our override." "That's suicide," someone whispered. "No," Hensley said. "It's insurance. If those ships turn on us, we hit the kill switch." They didn't know the vigilant winter had already heard them. It was listening to everything. Dr.